Sebastian had shown us references of a film with this bloody body in a bed just saturated with blood, and that was one of the things he wanted, was a saturated mattress just filled with blood.
There were a lot of tests on skin, on clothes, on floors. We are using different blood for different purposes.
We've never used the same combination.
There are a few different kinds of blood in the movie. Scab blood, which is kind of a dry blood. We have blood that's a lot brighter, the liquid blood that is fresh, so it really stands out and looks viscous. Vampire blood is slightly different color than a regular human's blood, just due to the nature of the two different kind of characters that you're trying to do. You know, you want to delineate those two types of people, the vampire and the human, the predator and the prey.
The first mention of me is a picture of me where they found my body outside of a dumpster, and that was about an hour of makeup. Yeah, basically I'm covered in blood this entire movie. When it's wet, it's not so bad, but once it dries, it just gets really sticky. Like, some of it gets hard, and Chris, the makeup artist, has to keep coming up and spraying me with water.
The blood really, you know, it helps, because you get messy, and it helps you just play into it, you know. You're covered in blood, so the whole thing gets kind of silly, and you can really just have fun with it.
Visita mi canal.
I think sometimes the blood stains, and the best thing to get it out is shaving cream, actually.
Shaving cream is the secret to removing fake blood. Stand under hot water and let it kind of loosen, and then wipe as much off as you can, use soap, and then your skin's stained from it, from being in it for hours, so you just take shaving cream, rub it on, wipe it off with a cloth, and you're good to go.
You know, it's corn syrup, it's various food coloring. I look at a gallon and I think, oh, look at all the corn syrup I'm wasting, you know, and other people go, oh, it's blood.
Vampires are serial killers, and serial killers, their main motivation is sex. That's how they get off, sexually.
You know, people consider vampires sexy, period.
I think all vampire movies, I suppose, are somewhat sexual.
Lucy Liu's character brings this prostitute that she picked up, this call girl, for what seems to be a kinky lesbian night.
The script itself is very sexual, and there's this marriage of sex and violence, and there's a lot of nudity. It really is more of an erotic thing.
You go from this wonderful underwater image of this beautiful woman swimming, you know, naked in a pool, and then there's this dinner scene, and he has a different idea of dinner than she does, and it's kind of a sick humor because all he wants to do is devour her, literally.
It's like a tug of war between sex and murder.
There's a lot of underlying sexual tension, which, you know, that's more important than the actual act, is to have that tension, and that's always much more exciting and thrilling.
The hitchhiker scene that we did was so sexual because there was water and it was behind the glass, and it just turned out to be something that was a lot more intense and titillating than I thought it was going to be.
I hop in the car, and I'm essentially trying to feel her out. She makes sure I don't have a girlfriend or wife or kids, and then she pulls over, straddles me, and she gets me.
It's a blood feast. There's blood everywhere.
The rest of the movie, you know, people are running around naked, eating each other, you know, so I'm just excited to see it because it's a wild, great script, and it should be a really fun movie.
One of the things I love about Sebastian as a director is there are always great sets in it. The meat locker and those sets were really exciting.
It's one of the coolest looking sets, and just the fact that it's a meat locker with human meat hanging there is just horrifying.
The meat locker, it was circular, and the conical shape is very powerful. It's like architecture of fear, curving corridors that you don't know where they end.
Very shadowy, very dark. Lots of bodies hanging upside down, throats cut, constantly dripping blood into buckets.
The idea is, how do you take something that's really grotesque and disgusting and make it beautiful and sensual? One thing I always like in every film, if possible, is to get a location that's never been shot. And if you can get great architecture and it's never been used before, that's all the better. This location is actually used for Bishop's Lair. It's supposed to be heading up towards Big Sur. It's supposed to be in the mountains, and because it's in Pasadena, it has this feeling as if it could be up in the mountains, or at least not in LA.
The way Jerry designed the set was so incredible that it was really, really creative for me to play with it.
It has the dark woods and the trims, and we had to cover the existing flooring so that we could have all the blood over the floor, and we painted the walls, which is, I think, a nice compliment to the blood. When I find a location as good as this, I don't want to mess it up. I laugh because that was one of the sets that was going to be on location, and now we're building it from scratch. Doing production design, I can't tell you how many different motel sets I've had to build, and it's always a creative challenge to think of what can you do in a motel that you haven't done before.
I found something that I really liked, which was in the dark reds, which when you see the material, it's almost like Catholic school skirt, and that's going to give the room a very moody look.
It's very dreamlike and you don't really know where you are, but it's not what you would peg as a contemporary vampire film.
And one thing we get to do is try new things, and breaking rules is fun.
Hey, I'm Kurt. Tonight we're going to have the actor go out the window.
All right, move around a little bit. Sure. Cool? Groovy? Yeah. Feel stable?
Couldn't feel better.
Ready? Yeah, ready. Dead man walking. Action!
Keep your eyes closed. My name is Will Leong. I'm a professional stuntman. I've been a stuntman for 13 years.
My name is Mamie. I'm here for stunning for Lucy Liu.
I won't say that it's a typical stunt. Even a simple stunt as doing a stair fall. It's not doing a stair fall. You have to remember to act a little bit. You have to know how to hit your mark.
He goes the kick.
Bang, and then the shot goes down.
He steps back, and then I come in and do the rest of it.
Everything you do, I think, requires some sort of rehearsal. So you know which way you're going to go, that there's no confusion in your mind how you're going to start off.
Bang. Grabs her, throws her onto the countertop. And she grabs it, smacks him once, bang, twice, bang, back into the wall.
I had an idea what was going on. I was going to get thrown around here and there.
We had a fight scene, which was great.
The actor, Mako, gets beat up in the bathroom, and Lucy Liu's character kicks him down the stairs. She gave me a little slight kick, and then the director wanted to see more of an aggressive move on her part, so she gave me a little bit more of a kick. It was real, and I definitely felt it. But part of the job. Bumps and bruises are acceptable. You know, I just think to myself, I'm lucky to be here. This is what I wanted to do, so suck it up. You know, it's in the job description.
How many stuntmen does it take to change a light bulb? 6. 1 to change it. 5 to tell him how bitchin' it was.
I think it's atypical because there's no fangs, there's no garlic around the neck, there's no cross, there's no, there's tons of blood, but it's, I think all vampire movies, I suppose, are somewhat sexual. It's hard to explain, but it's more of something internal for this movie. Sadie wants to be alive again, and she can't have that. So what is her option? What is her choice? She tries to kill herself. No, that's not going to work. So she chooses to go on this path. I think it's also, it has a story where people they die for a certain reason. There haven't been that many stunts. There have been a lot of, being thrown around and hanging upside down, and you can't really have anyone else do that for you, so I've been sort of doing that on my own, and we had a fight scene, which was great, and we had some great stunt people for that, but mainly we've just been doing our own thing. I mean, it's not really stunt-driven, and it's not even special effects-driven. It's more an emotionally driven film. I hope we get an opportunity to work on something else together as well, because there was a great dynamic between us and a great chemistry, and he's incredibly talented. And he's like a complete, huggy bear, love bug person. He's just, the sweetest person in the world.
I wanted to do a thriller. I really like Lucy Liu's work a lot. And meeting Sebastian really sort of was the nail in the coffin, as it were. He just struck me as a guy who really loves the cinema. I play a LA detective, Clyde Rollins, and he's different than any other cop that I've played because he's perhaps the most damaged man I've ever played. He's lost he's lost everything that mattered to him in his life, which was, first his daughter to these, I can't call them people, to these monsters, if you will, and then subsequently his wife. everything that was really important to him and that mattered to him. So he's not a very gregarious guy, let's say. He's you know, he's really, really hurting, damaged man who wants to exact revenge on who's responsible for this. So he's very much in a vigilante mode in this film. When you let yourself go to those places, you know, as any actor worth their salt will do, yeah, it gets very disturbing. And you know, this entire shoot has been nights, which puts you through changes anyway. When you live in the night and you sleep in the day, it's just a strange way to go through your life.
I think the majority of actors would say the same thing about playing roles where the character is not altogether good. There's something really to be reveled in. You can have so much fun, and often the dialogue is very playful and enjoyable. You can kind of relish playing something that hopefully is nothing like what you are as a real person. So you know, it's great to play all kinds of roles, but it is true that playing evil people is more fun. Lucy's lovely. She's really, really lovely, and she's so professional. She's done so many really kind of awful physical things on this job. I don't even know if I can talk about what we were shooting the day before yesterday, but the day before yesterday, Lucy was hanging upside down naked, having her throat cut, and she dealt with it with such grace and humor and professionalism, and I found it very inspiring.
The character who's sort of a baddie, but with a lot of complexity underneath. And that, I think, is always the most interesting to me, is that, you know, I was interested in playing someone who starts off doing something really terrible and ultimately is sort of transformed by that act herself. It's an incredibly entertaining movie, and it's sexy, and it's thrilling, and it's all these things. There's also a lot of pathos. There's a lot of sort of guilt and redemption and all of really very major issues in life. We are all animals on some level, and everyone has learned a certain behavior. And definitely, certainly the character that I play and Bishop, and that we are much more in touch with our animal instincts than most people. And that's a fun thing to play as an actor, you know, to sort of let down any kind of preconceptions of how you're supposed to behave in a certain situation, you know.
I had a lot of respect for the people working in it, and I thought it would be, you know, a small part ironic to be in a vampire movie and not be a vampire, because it's a very much a cliche for the past 10 years. People wanted me to be things that are so obvious that they think would suit me. Well, jeans is a phenomenon. I haven't had denim on my skin for some time, since high school maybe. And this shirt, just the color scheme I don't understand, so I know that it must be right. And we just kind of added some prison tattoos to my other prison-esque tattoos. Kind of took up the prison level a notch. So I wanted to kind of look like maybe a heroin dealer or something like that.
It came from me thinking to myself that I really like vampire movies, but I couldn't remember the last vampire movie that I really like. Because for me, I love the myth of the vampires, and it exists in every culture, and there's all sorts of permutations of it. But for me, the moment that there is fangs or garlic or flying, it becomes really campy, and it becomes no longer scary. So the idea was really, I was trying to do something sort of film noir-like with a female protagonist, and introduce the concept of vampires into that. So as a result, we have a movie that is basically a thriller about a cult. It happens to be a cult of vampires, but the word vampire is never mentioned, and you never see things that you see in certain vampire movies. Well, the basic storyline is pretty simple. It's, you know, Lucy Liu plays this reporter who is investigating this cult that, you know, that she doesn't take seriously at all. And in her investigation, she ends up, you know, it's not that she goes in a little too deep, but somebody who she's not supposed to know about finds out about what she's doing, and she's basically killed by this cult. except she's not completely dead, and she wakes up left for dead in a morgue and finds out that she's no longer among the living, you know, so she is undead. And so in its simplest level, she decides to, when she realizes that she can't die the way that other people can die, she decides to stop them from doing this to anybody else. Certain things that I wanted not to fall into in the story, because we've all seen vampire movies and there are certain cliches. And one thing that I didn't want is anybody to have a speech where they said, well, I've been around for 500 years, and when I was around, you know, and yet I wanted to give the characters that sense of, you know, the members of this cult, you know, who are vampires, have been around for a very long time. I'm usually very compassionate to my characters. The movie's in no way cruel, even though violent and horrible things happen in the movie, so even the alleged bad guys, you know, have a good side.
Last one, pictures up.
So this is the article.
There's a little, maybe on your
Look into my eyes. Look into my eyes.
Does it look okay?
Yeah.
Can I just... Got you a bag of tricks.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Market, Arnold.
And that.
Action!
The hell?
Sailor, this is my sister.
Fuck, she didn't have that harpoon.
Sadie Blake. You have a million questions, I bet.
You sure your sister's as glad to see you?
No.
The main room. Walking down the
You turning colors, which was awesome. And then I saw which was great. Cool. And then I saw
Still serial killer. I hate surprises.
What? Sorry. Oh. Come on. Come on, what am I gonna do?
You gotta turn around, that's what.
Can you at least cuff me in the front? It's kind of hard to wipe your hands behind your back.
Put this on.
Like if there's any way you can be slightly to your left of that one.
Me? Here? Sure.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. It just seems weird, like, listen, she's not that comfortable with women. She would have a bra on all the time. You know, like, can I have my shirt at least? Do you know what I mean? She's not that kind of person.
You gotta have one more full-time roller.
She's very aware. She's not sure about what she's aware. It seems to me that it would be better for him to give her the shirt, which shows respect, and for her to also feel comfortable.
I have no problem with that. I think it's smart.
And also,
But the problem
if
is
you come
the
in
time.
tight, you just, you know,
Stand up and turn around.
oh, what am I gonna do?
You gotta turn around, that's what.
Can you at least cuff me in the front? It's kind of hard to wipe with your hands behind your back.
Door stays open. Go on.
Cheap thrills.
Understand? Yeah. All right, rehearsing. Very quiet, please.
Can we step into each other?
Yeah, it's good to
Rehearsal. Action.
Where is he?
Y tus trailers, visita mi canal.
I believe this is yours.
Where'd you find that?
Redneck dude. Oh, what the hell's his name?
Dwayne.
Musgrove. Dwayne Musgrove borrowed your car earlier tonight. Kid could steal cars, but he sure as hell couldn't drive them.
Another rehearsal. It's good, yeah.
Frankly, I'm disappointed. Save her. Oh, she who murdered your daughter in cold blood.
That's a guy. That's okay. They're under control. Okay.
Are you really gonna save her? She who murdered your daughter in cold blood.
That's a good.
Frankly, I'm disappointed in Lawrence. Are you really going to save her? She murdered your daughter in cold blood.
That's good. You okay? You okay?
No. Ready? Totally all right. I almost lost it. I regained it about halfway through. The definition of ironic. Yeah, just like a cop. Always trying to save your own. Shut up. Boom. Boom. Can't miss that. So that's an interesting thing. Okay, yeah. The curtains coming at you. This is where it's supposed to be. So real slow-mo, second shot.
And then you bounce back and I drop the theatre trying to rock.
Where's the thing? Hitting me with a brush, the eyes on.
Oh, that's the one, is it? That's the one. Okay.
So bang.
And then we kind of dance over this way.
There, that's good. Just for a lot of dialogue, blah blah blah. And then Lucy says,
she says, you turn around, grab me for a second, and everyone's so let's come back. We got it. One goes down and hands comes around. One goes down here.
South speed.
A and B. Context.
Are you rolling, David?
Yeah.
Okay.
Set.
Thank you.
Action! The very definition of ironic, I would think. And yet, just like a cop.
Quitus Trailers, visita mi canal.